The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Brock Sheridan, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Horse Podcast from the Horse Capital of the World studios here in Ocala, Florida. On today's show, we'll be joined by David O'Farrell. We welcome David, the general manager of Ocala Stud, one of the more prominent stallion facilities here in Ocala, and really maybe one of the more prominent stallion facilities in the country. And welcome aboard, David. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Brock. Glad to be here.
Talking about Ocala Stud, there's always exciting things to talk about, but this year we have something really exciting, and that is Awesome Slew has a star on the Triple Crown Trail, and that is Hades, who just won the Holy Bull at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, awfully great start to the new year, Brock. We're really excited about these 2-year-olds turning 3. We had the 2-year-old champion Fierceness at our farm last year. He was an Ocala Stud training grad, so we were super proud of him to go on and become champion 2-year-old. But to have a homebred beat him in the Holy Bull was really something spectacular. And Fierceness is an awfully good horse. He'll rebound. But we're super proud of Hades and Awesome Slew and the mare, the Shady Lady, that is off to a really good start for us. So we're really excited about Hades' prospects going forward, and we'll see. It's an exciting time of the year.
You talk about Fierceness. We'll talk about Awesome Slew here in just one second, but I just want to point out one other thing. You talk about Fierceness as a graduate of your early training program there at Ocala Stud. He was the champion 2-year-old. He was the second consecutive champion 2-year-old that is a graduate of your early training program there at Ocala Stud. Forte, who was the champion last year, was also an Ocala Stud graduate. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. We're really fortunate. We have very good book of clients, super clients that send us really nice horses and give us the opportunity to excel with these horses. And, just really lucky to have 2 spectacular 2-year-olds 2 years in a row. And, so it's been very gratifying.
We're going to talk more about Hades and more about Awesome Slew here in a minute, but let's take a look first at this year's Holy Bull at Gulfstream Park.
And Hades has the lead. On the outside, Fierceness starts to shift gears, and there he goes. Fierceness for a neck advantage. Hades tries to counterpunch with the benefit of the inside 4-wide C streak, inveigled, hanging tough from between horses. Another 2 lengths back to Domestic Product, and dropping back to last is Dancing Groom, just ahead of him Otello. Fierceness not out of second gear yet. They went 3/4, and Fierceness goes to the first finish line, trying to put Hades away. Gaffleone getting a response from Domestic Product, and it's time to go to work for the 2-year-old champ. Fierceness is off the turn, but he's not home yet, as Hades is dead game and battling back. Off-cover Domestic Product is charging hard. 16th to go. Fierceness coming up empty now. Hades has the lead. Domestic Product is out of time. DJ Stables, Hades wins the Holy Bull under Paco Lopez.
So Hades really impressive in that race, pulling away from Fierceness. But at the top of the stretch, you had to be pretty happy with one of your graduates on the outside and Hades on the inside. That was quite an exciting race for Ocala Stud, wasn't it?
It was an exciting race. I mean, I honestly, when Fierceness ranged up to the outside, it looked like he was going to go on by, being the class horse that he is. But Hades dug in. I loved that he was on a loose rein going down the backside, and he was just in a good rhythm, just doing it his way. And when they turned for home, he kicked clear, and it was an exciting result.
From a handicapping standpoint, from a fan standpoint, one of the things that I thought was most impressive about Hades was just about what you talked about. It looked like Fierceness was going to, Fierceness did go by him for a brief moment there at the top of the stretch, but he really fought back. Shows a lot of tenacity, courage. That's a nice quality to see if you have a stallion, to see his progeny exhibit those kind of qualities. Is that something that you think a lot of those Awesome Slews have? Is that kind of determination?
I think so. And his sire line kind of suggests that he could get any type of horse. Awesome Slew is kind of a middle distance horse, a little bit of a sprinter, middle distance kind of, 7/8 to a mile. But his pedigree really suggests that he could produce classic type horses.
He can also produce some nice 2-year-old and training sales horses too. He had a $700,000 2-year-old last year at Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic. So Awesome Slew not only producing on the racetrack, but he has quite a record of producing in the sales ring as well, doesn't he?
He does. He was Florida's leading freshman sire in 2022 and leading second crop sire in 2023 from modest numbers, really. So, I think, he's got a bright future ahead, and there will be more to come.
He's by Awesome again, so we're really looking forward to the career that Awesome Slew has already got started going. Let's talk about some of your younger stallions. And one of the things we always like to talk about when we talk about the thoroughbred breeding industry, and those are foals. And you've don't have any foals out at the farm yet, but we've seen some photos of some really nice foals by Roadster, one of your younger stallions. That's his first foal. He's by Quality Road. What have you heard about some of the foals that have hit the ground by Roadster?
We actually have a couple of Roadster foals on the ground right now. We have two, and they're both very, very nice. One's out of a young mare by Malibu Moon, and the other one's out of a trippy mare, an old stallion that we stood at Ocala Stud. She's been a heck of a producer and multiple stakes producer. One of our better, more consistent mares. And it's just a really, really solid foal, good size, good bone, sharp head, just everything you look for in a newborn foal, and, happy and healthy and nursing. And that's really what matters at this stage.
Another young sire that you have out there that has some foals hitting the ground right now is Colonel Liam. Colonel Liam, of course, a multiple Grade 1 winner. He won the Pegasus Invitational Turf twice. He's won the Grade 1 Turf Classic, I believe, at Churchill Downs, too. He's got some foals hitting the ground. What have you heard about them?
Heard all positive things from Colonel Liam. He's just a beautiful, beautiful horse. Very top-class racehorse. Really excited to see more of his babies. And if they look anything like he does, then I think we're going to have a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, he's a good-looking horse himself, too, a big gray horse. I think a lot of people will just be, if you haven't been out to Ocala Stud or taken a close look at Colonel Liam, he's a really good-looking horse, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite horses out at your place, and that's Win Win Win, a wonderful stallion. He's by Hat Trick, Japanese bred sire. His first crop are 2-year-olds this year. He had a horse, I think, a yearling last year, sell for $250,000. So as we go into the 2-year-old sale season, you've got to be pretty excited about him for the 2-year-old in training sales, and then would say start hitting the track later this year.
Yeah, he's a prospect that we really believe in. We have two that we've entered for OBS March, 2 fillies that are training extremely well, and a handful more for April. The pinhookers really, really picked them up this past fall. He had one bring 250, another one bring 150,000. I think people are really taking note. He's got an interesting pedigree. There's a lot of classic blood up close in his pedigree. And he was a very versatile racehorse. He won a Grade 1 in Saratoga. He set a track record at Tampa going 7/8, and he was a 5th off the track record at Belmont on the turf. So he's a very versatile horse, very good looking horse. He's got a pedigree that leans to the outcross to most mares. And, I think he's a very exciting prospect.
Talk a little bit about that sire, Hat Trick. I mean, you talked about the outcross and kind of the new blood that would be coming in to Florida with that kind of breeding. Tell me a little bit about what that means to a regional breeding market to have those kind of bloodlines.
Well, I think his grandsire is Sunday Silence, who was champion here in America, but went on to be the influential sire in Japan. And then he's got a lot of classic blood on the bottom side. He's out of a Smarty Jones mare. Second dam sire is by Unbridled. So there's 3 classic winners really up close in his pedigree. But he was very precocious himself, win. And I think he's going to have a blend of speed and stamina with a really, really nice pedigree to back it up.
Another young stallion that you have out there at Ocala Stud, a very nice looking sire that I think a lot of people are excited about is Gretzky the Great. He has foals that will be hitting the ground this year as well, right?
He does. He has a limited crop, but we bred some really nice mares to him. He's a horse we really believe in his sire line, Nyquist. He's out of a young Bernardini mare, so he has a really good pedigree. There's no reason that he shouldn't throw dirt horses. Gretzky the Great was a Grade 1 winning juvenile on the turf, but he's really an exciting prospect and a horse we believe in.
Another horse that you have out there that is going to have a first crop is going to be 2-year-olds this year is Seeking the Soul, a son of Perfect Soul. Talk a little bit about some of his 2-year-olds that are coming up right now and what you're thinking of looking at seeing from them.
His 2-year-olds are showing more precocity than I would imagine. He was a top-notch racehorse. He earned $3.4 million, won or placed in 8 graded stakes. He's just a top-class racehorse. You would expect them to get a little better as they get older, but his 2-year-olds are training forwardly, and we're excited about him.
Let's now move on to one of the veterans out there at Ocala Stud, and that is Adios Charlie. And he's got a star on the racetrack now in Stone Silent. He's by Indian Charlie, and there's a horse that has really been popular among Florida breeders for a long time, and he's also a horse that has been near the top of the Florida standings for throughout his career too. He's just a solid sire, isn't he?
He's so consistent. What I really like about Charlie is he just gets runners. They run early as 2-year-olds, and they go on. They win a lot of races. His average earnings index is very good. And he's just a horse that is kind of blue collar, hard knocking, just produces runners and winners. I call him the poor man's Uncle Mo because he's the same sire line as Uncle Mo and Indian Charlie. But he's so consistent, and we have a lot of repeat customers that breed to Charlie year in and year out because they're happy with what they're getting.
Are most of those customers, are they breeding to sell, or are they breeding to run, or both?
Most of them breed to run. I think if you have the wherewithal to go to the 2-year-old sales route, you can be really rewarded with Adios Charlies. They sell extremely well as 2-year-olds. But we get a blend of breeders. I think, people that use Charlie, a lot of them come back.
Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody is interested in coming out and taking a look at some of those stallions, any of the Awesome Slew, Win, any of the ones that you have out there, I know that you guys kind of have an open house during the March sale, but how does somebody get in touch with Ocala Stud to come out and look at one of those stallions or talk to you about them?
Just call the office or drop by. We're there all day, every day. There's somebody at the barn this time of the year, and we welcome visitors to come see the stallions any day before 3 p.m.
Good. And what about your March consignment? Do you have any superstars or potential superstars in the March consignment that you're looking at for the OBS March sale?
We're soon going to find out. It's getting close, but the horses are training extremely well. We're excited about an Awesome Slew filly out of a Nyquist mare and a couple of Win fillies that are training extremely well.
All right. Well, we'll be looking for those when the March sale comes around. We want to talk about 2 other quick stallions here. Battalion Runner is a son of Unbridled Song. Goes back to those old good Florida bloodlines, and Dak Attack, of course, is a son of the influential sire Ghost Zapper, a Breeders' Cup Classic winner. So that's going to do it today. David, thank you very much for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Good luck in the breeding season, and always nice to have you aboard.
Thank you very much, Brock.
All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm Brock Sheridan here on the Florida Horse Podcast. So long, everyone.
The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.